Once Carrel had become a skilled embroiderer, he turned his attention to his real ambition, sewing blood vessels. And that is significantly more difficult than sewing a flat piece of paper. Blood vessels are rounded and they tend to collapse inwards. It's like trying to sew together two very soggy drinking straws. Carrel solved this problem by inventing a technique that transformed surgery. It's one of those moments I absolutely love, when a seemingly minute step changes everything. Dr. Richard Gibbs is a vascular surgeon, and some of the techniques he uses are direct descendants of Carrel's stitch. He's going to show me why Carrel's work was so revolutionary. This is a very realistic looking piece of artery.
Well, this is a real artery. It's a pig's aorta, so it's not that dissimilar from human arteries. OK, so what we'll do is we're going to literally just going to chop it in half with these scissors.
Right, OK. Good splash, right?
Blood starts to clot within about 2 or 3 minutes of being exposed to air.
Right.
And so, A, he must have been very fast, but B, he must have had a very meticulous technique. Okay. And one of the important principles is that you try to curve the needle very gently through an arc. Because if you drag the needle, you'll tear the artery and it will start to bleed.
It's curious to think, isn't it, until you could do something as basic as this, you couldn't do a transplant, you know.
Exactly. It's still predicated on the need to be able to sew one bit of artery to another bit of artery. Yeah. And if that basic step fails, then nothing's going to work, no matter how good the technology or the drugs are.
Carrel's first trick was this. He had discovered that if he always passed the needle from inside to out, he could sew the insides of the vessels together, and this would stop blood from clotting over the join and blocking the vessel. And his second trick was even better. By putting 3 stitches round the edge and pulling on them all at once, he magically created a straight line to sew along. And that, apparently, is going to make it easier for me when I have my go. I remember when I started off in medicine, in casualty on drunks and things like that. And you remember those days? And I had this awful occasion when I had this drunk guy and he had a big gash in his head. And I did a very careful job sewing his head. And then when I reached to pull my hands away, I had sewed my glove to the top of his skull. Which was a low moment. I had to call the nurse who came and carefully snipped it away. It was not the highlight of my sewing career.
OK, so there we are. And now for the acid test.
Indeed. You feeling confident?
The blood test, I'm feeling very confident. And we gradually distend that up.
Very good.
You're always going to get a little bit of bleeding around the stitch holes, but in real life that will be acceptable.
OK. Should we switch over and I'll have a go?
Excellent.
Right, we're ready to operate, Doctor, then. Aye, Dr. Finlay.
I'm doing this on the kitchen table of a remote Scottish
Aye, Janet, you're ready, Janet. We're ready to go.
Your aneurysm was ruptured.
Yeah, it was ruptured, Janet, and I'm about to operate. Right. It does not start well. Marvellous. Now, I've already hit the confusion. How do I sort of angle myself?
If you hold it like that, rather than holding it like a sort of an ape trying to get a coconut open with a hammer, if you hold it like that, it'll be much easier.
Okay. So I'm going in the other side now.
Exactly, yeah. So
right there?
Approximately there. A little bit bigger bite. No, don't pick it up there. Push it from the other side. And then pick it up.
Okay.
You don't want those little linear tears in there also, because as soon as you take the clamps off, the blood will flow.
Correct.
Well, it will spurt. Push, 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 push. That's it. And now pick it up the other side.
Got it.
And curve it round. Follow the curve of the needle. That's great.
Got it.
Oh, sorry, you need to be a little bit, come a bit further away there, yeah. A bit deeper than that.
Is that too deep?
No, that's fine. But now you're losing control.
I am. Calm down. Too excitable. I thought I would be extremely calm about this. Something about challenge. Breathe in. I hope you weren't doing anything this evening. It fills me with enormous respect for Carrel, and frankly for surgeons as well, when I do this sort of stuff. Because I have to say, it looks so much easier when you did it.
That's not a true surgical knot.
Really?
That's what we call the shoelace knot.
so I can avoid pricking myself. Right, great. Oof. Okay, this is the moment of truth, and see if my stitching holds. Bit of a drip coming out here, but yeah. Ooh, I feel quite tired, I must admit. It required a lot of focus, but I'm quite pleased. I thought it could be terrible. It was okay. Thank you. That was fantastic. That was really, really interesting, really enjoyable.